What's going on, everybody? My name is Ben and welcome back to the bench for a brand new episode here on Sci-Fi Wednesdays. We are back on our Night Trooper, and today we're going to go ahead and finish off the project, wrap up the build. Let's go ahead and grab the kit. Let's get started. We have a lot to do. So last episode, I went ahead and I worked on the wire pathing. And so far, so good. We have all of our magnet wires strung down through the head, torso, legs, out the bottom of the feet. And as you can see, the lights do turn on. They glow green with a very piercing, very spooky appearance. And that's exactly what we were going for. So I'm happy with it. That means, though, that we can move on now with the overall look of the Night Trooper, which means we need to go ahead and weather it down the armor. We need to etch the armor. We need to make it look cracked and broken and add in our gold inlays, as well as our red ribbons that go around different parts like the shins and the thighs and the arms, shoulder pads, chest, all that good stuff. So we have a lot of work cut out for us, but I think we take our time. We're going to get this thing looking the part. I have tons of references as well, so we're ready to rock. Let's jump into our first time lapse. So what we're going to do first is I'm going to grab some sanding sticks. I'm going to grab a needle. I've got it chucked in the end of my pin vise. We're going to go over each and every armor plate. We're going to draw in and etch some panel lines into the armor. Then I'm going to sand them down, we're going to clean them out, and we're going to put in some panel line accent by Tamiya to make them pop so I know what I'm looking at. Then I want to go ahead and add in some gray accent colors on different areas of the armor. And I think at that point, we should be able to come on back and we'll see where we go from there. So let's go ahead and jump into our first time lapse, guys. Lots to do. Let's get this party started. Let's have some fun. All right, everybody. So as you can see, we have gone ahead and etched the armor. Everything looks pretty cool. I like how it's turned out so far. I went ahead and also added in some sections of gray. I use a Tamiya neutral gray for that, and I think it's a really nice pop of color to kind of break up the monotony of the white and black. So it's got a little bit of gray around the back of the helmet and the shoulder pauldrons, so I'm pretty happy with how that looks. We do have to do a little bit of touch-up, though, on the gray just to make sure it's nice and clean, plus a little bit of touch-up on some of the other parts and pieces there on the helmet. We need to go ahead and use our chrome marker pens and add in our gold inlays to different sections of the armor. Using my references, of course, we've got a good idea where we want them to go. We just have to be very careful with how we go ahead and place them. Unfortunately though, because this marker isn't brand new, it's been used a few times now, it tends to come out a little bit on the gloppy side. So I'm going to use some Tamiya acrylic thinner and a very fine tipped brush. We're going to smooth out and we're going to kind of blend the gold together so that it looks like it's actually a golden inlay. So we're going to go ahead and jump into our next time lapse, and I want to finish applying all of the gold inlays, smooth everything out, blend it in with my Tamiya acrylic thinner, and get this thing one step closer to being finished. So back in there, guys, let's apply some gold. Alright guys, so here we go. As you can see, we've got our gold inlays nicely applied to different sections of the figure. I think it really turned out nicely. Of course, like I mentioned, our markers were a little bit on the dry side, but they worked great. I just had to come in with some Tamiya thinner and a fine brush to kind of blend it and remove some of the larger little dried chunks. Otherwise though, I think this is a great technique and it really does look like gold. So I'm pretty happy with it. So we just have to let this dry and fully cure. And I think in the meantime, we're going to move our attention over to the base. Now I've got a lot of these unfinished shadow boxes. So we're going to go ahead and just kind of pull off the hardware. We're going to sand everything down. And then I want to come in and I want to make a cool looking base, make it look a little bit like a stone floor. Go ahead and stipple a little bit of Mr. Surfacer 500 over the top of it to kind of roughen it up just a little bit and to hide any imperfections in the wood grain. And then I want to go ahead and start painting it. We're going to come in, we're going to pre-shade with some black. Then we're going to overcoat that with some Vallejo concrete. And once that is good, we're going to go ahead and just mix and match and overcoat everything so that we have a bit of a stone flooring kind of texture and color. After that is all nice and dry, I want to go ahead and take a template that I cut from my Cricut cutter, and we're going to add a little bit of some decoration and paint something across the base. So let's go ahead and jump in here to our next time lapse. Let's work on this base. Let's see what we can do, paint everything up, and then we'll go ahead and give it a nice sealant coat of gloss, and we'll move on to the rest of the figure. Back in there, guys. Let's push on. We're almost done. With our base more or less finished, we're going to turn our attention back over to the figure, and we're going to try to do some weathering. Now, what we're going to use here is a clay-based wash by UMP. I'm not going to go ahead and use my traditional AK panel liners or any of my AK washes or my MIG washes. I don't really want to melt the plastic because Bandai is susceptible to certain lacquer-based washes. I don't want to run the risk, so we're going to stick to acrylic and we're going to stick to clay-based. That should be absolutely fine. It won't damage any parts, and it'll be relatively easy to apply and remove. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do. We're going to slather the entire model in this really nice kind of dark earthen colors, and then we'll come back, clean it up, and I think then we can move on to the ribbon, because that is going to be kind of the next big step. So let's go ahead and jump back into our time lapse. We're going to weather everything down with our clay-based wash and any sort of acrylic washes. We're going to add some speckling of dirt and dust. We're going to go ahead and blend everything together, and then we'll turn our attention to the ribbon. Cut some very thin strips, apply them with super glue, wrap them around different body parts, and then I think we'll soak them in a mixture of water and PVA glue to make sure they don't fray and that they hold their shape. So let's get in there, guys. We are almost done. Last time lapse of the day, and I'll show you guys the finished product. All right, everybody, we are back and we have finished off our custom Night Trooper build. I gotta tell you, this was a ton of fun. Not only did I have a chance to build something from Star Wars, but also something kind of spooky right here for the Halloween season. So I'm happy with it. Let me go ahead and pull it out here and show you guys our finished product. And here it is. This is our 1/12 scale Sand Trooper customized to be a Night Trooper from the Ashoka show. We've got a painted and decorated base, LEDs right there in the eyes. We've got a green switch on the back of it to match the green of his eyes. And yeah, a little bit of custom filigree on the very top of the base. We got our red ribbon. We've got our gold inlays. We've got our battery pack, everything nicely soldered together. We are all finished up with our project. Get you a close up here and you can see I added in as much of the battle damage as I could. Went ahead and scored across the chest, across the different armor plates. I added in the green eyes. We've got the red sash to represent the Night Mothers. We've got the gold inlays. We've got the gray replacement armor parts. I think this was a really, really fun build. Unfortunately, we don't have a blank off plate for this rear receptacle for our backpack, but you never know, I might want to throw something back there anyway, so I'm going to leave it. I'm pretty sure it's fine. I did end up adding in some of the ammo pouches because I like the look of that, and I went ahead and weathered them down just a little bit, plugged up the rear so that they look like they are one solid piece. And because I added those in, I had to throw in one of the guns. Now the gun is just simply rubbed down with a little bit of gunmetal weathering powder, so that's perfectly fine, but I can always swap it out with the other hand not holding anything if I want to change up the look. So yeah, not too bad. All in all, this was a fantastic build. I really, really had fun with it. And as you can see, I did add in that really cool, almost like a star map symbol. I just drew that up in Photoshop, cut it out on my Cricut cutter, painted it with some Tamiya pale gold. I think it adds in kind of that vibe that you saw in Ashoka. It's very posable still. His feet are locked into place, but his knees, his ankles, all the other body parts move and can pose in all sorts of different contortions. But that is it, guys. This was a fun project. I went ahead and built it for the Boyd Crompton Memorial Halloween group build over on HLI. So this is going to go ahead and make its way over to the community tab. I'm also going to go ahead and put this up on Instagram as well for anyone who's interested in some still photos. I have one more build I might try to do, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish it before the deadline. I'm going to try, but if I do, it'll come out here on the channel after Halloween. So until then, I need to figure out what else to build, and I want to get back into military models, and we're getting into the holiday season as well. So we'll be looking probably toward 12 sprues. But until then, guys, thank you so much for watching. Until our next episode, you guys know the drill. Go out there, get yourself some bench time, have some fun, build something cool. Big shout out to Kenny for hosting this Halloween group build, and we will see you back here on the next episode of Sci-Fi Wednesdays for a new project and more modeling adventures. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you soon.